So you probably heard of starting a personal brand, and in fact, a lot of business owners, agency owners, personal coaches, physical coaches, real life coaches, and no coaches, they are starting a personal brand because there are a lot of benefits and advantages of starting a personal brand, specifically if you want to start a business. And all of these I'm going to outline within this specific video, and I hope I won't exaggerate too long on every single point, but I would like to provide as much as information as I possibly can so that throughout the end of this video or towards the end of this video you guys can literally start your own personal brand and realize how much money there actually is within this industry and how much money you can literally capitalize on. So without further ado, let's literally begin. But before we begin, everything I'm going to give you guys are literally systems. And so what that means is systems. They consist obviously of sub-components, and in order to realize your success, we need the system, and basically the system you set out for yourself, to function as effective as possible. And we do this not by changing the system, but ultimately improving the subcomponents that compound and essentially make the system. My system is not perfect, and neither are any, because at its essence they are systems, and your success is basically a combination of my systems and perhaps other people's systems that you have probably heard or learned about before, and basically adapting those systems together to basically pursue your personal goal. Right, and so as a beginner, having a system is always better, fundamentally speaking, than having no system at all. And so if you're an absolute noob or beginner, that is absolutely fine. So you can literally use the system as reference, but it is not the endpoint of the system, and it's not the system. So basically what I'm trying to say is never stop learning and continue refining your system. So let's literally continue. So within the specific system, I am not going to teach you guys about cold outreach. So cold outreach, if you guys are new, is basically what growth operating people do, or social media marketing agency owners, SMMA, and that basically entices, for example, email marketing, cold calling, going on phone calls. So all that heavy type of lifting you guys don't have to do at this step, even though there are some elements of cold outreach. The entire philosophy of this system doesn't really heavily depend on cold outreach. And so I want you guys to realize, and that's perhaps the say in every type of business you start, is that you won't realize actual profits until a specific time frame. And if you guys believe that becoming rich quickly or becoming rich overnight is actually a thing, then you can literally click off this video. But just like any other business, you need to be consistent, you need to put focus, and you need to put time and effort, and you have to be patient enough for those results to eventually yield. And so my growth estimation for this system is that it will take roughly around 8 to 18 months, but I have seen people implementing the system seeing results within literally 2 to 3 months. But all of that depends on the skills that you already have and all the previous type of knowledge and systems that you guys have previously heard of. And so continuous sharpening, and that basically explains that you should always continue learning, and I use that as the knife analogy. So if you guys, for example, have a knife, and if you cut with it often, you have to continuously make the knife sharper so that you can slowly start piercing tougher and tougher skins. And so last but not least, I want you guys to always respect the gurus, and this is perhaps a positive sentimental outtake of this system, because at the end of the day, what we're all teaching, like not only myself, is basically systems. So it doesn't really make sense to blame a guru, or to blame Iman Ghazi, to blame Luke Belmar, because the systems they teach don't really work for you, because at the end of the day, again, it is just systems. So it's not, it doesn't make a lot of sense to blame them. So essentially my point is to basically just respect the gurus. Now, the business philosophy that I'll specifically will be teaching is, as I have mentioned in the introduction, is to start a personal brand. And in my opinion, and if you guys see the trends of the industries such as Alex Hormozi, or again Iman Ghazi, Andrew Tate, they're all transitioning their current business structures into this type of business model, and that is basically the personal brand framework, and that framework is absolutely powerful, and you can literally capitalize on a lot of money when it comes to their system. Now, the growth operator, excuse me for that, is supposed to be personal branding. The personal brand, and I'll adjust this later, the personal brand has specifically 3 angles that you are applying this from. And first of all, it is yourself as a personal brand. So if you are an obviously you guys don't have to, if you are interested to start a personal brand for yourself, and I assume that you guys are or will do, then understand that personal brand is from a individual perspective. Then you have it for other creators as well, but that will already categorize itself under talent management or IPGA agencies, or basically other type of agencies that manage other people's personal brand. And there are also other companies where you can manage essentially their company brand, but it is very often translated or transitioned into personal brands because it would specify on certain individuals of that company, and that type of business structure is formerly known as SMA, or other people kind of convert that into the growth partner. Now, a personal brand has 2 fundamental terms broken down, and it is only the 2 core foundations of what a personal brand essentially is. It is 1, the identity, and essentially the identity of who you are. And number 2, it is the digital product, or the product, or essentially the value that you are offering towards your audience. Now, the framework of the personal brand is basically comprised of 3 macro components, and they are following a chronological order. So do remember this order in the following, which is MSP. Marketing is for MI, the first order. Basically, all the mediums used to acquire traffic. That includes Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Twitter, Eventbrite, whatever type of social media platform you guys see on your phones today, those would basically fall under the category of marketing. So sales would be the second process, and understand sales as like a funneling project where literally all that raw traffic that you accumulate through these social media platforms, they are essentially funneled down through either a landing page, a VSL, a video sales letter, websites, creator links, hyperlinks. You guys have probably seen this among other creators before. Last but not least, according to the MSP framework, we have product, which is the final stage. And product is one of the most important stage because product is obviously the value that you are selling for money. And so product specifically could be digital products. Physical products is not so attractive for content creators unless you are already selling a physical product. But to start your own physical product just for the purpose of having a personal brand is not my personal recommendation. So I would recommend digital products, specifically info products. And digital products I will explain in just a moment now, but they are essentially the product or the P section of the MSP framework. So from now on, I want you guys to remember the system in your head forever, and it is basically very, very important to evaluate any type of, personal branding structures or redevelopment or redesign. It's very important, and it's also really the only system you kind of need for personal branding. I understand there are more complex systems out there, but at its essence, they are very, very similar in terms of their structural complexities. Always remember the order, as I mentioned earlier: MSP, marketing, sales, and product. So marketing outreach, sales, which are the landing pages, and product, your digital product. So what I'm not asking you guys to do based on the system I'm teaching you guys about, I'm not asking you guys to start dropshipping, to start a social media marketing agency, to start a SaaS company, to have your own affiliate marketing channels, to be an influencer, to be a content creator, to be a physical product owner. Like, you guys literally don't have to do that. The idea of a personal brand is literally creating and formulating your identity and kind of monetizing that in some type of product by essentially providing value towards your audience. I know that all sounds complicated, guys, but it's really not. All you're doing is literally portraying your own personality online, and you are monetizing that through selling some type of value. And so your goal here is to obviously sell a digital product, or essentially a product, and focus on your personal branding. Hence, if your content is about entertaining an audience, this will not work. And in fact, this is actually called the the content creator syndrome. And I've seen that like in many content creators where they have, for example, 100,000 followers, 200,000 followers, 10,000 subscribers, and they get a lot of engagement on their social media pages, but they are not converting that into money. So that is the content creator syndrome, and that is something what content creators face very often, and it is not good, because obviously you would like, or you would want to convert, you know, your audience into some monetizable channel or revenue source. So value equals knowledge, knowledge is equal teaching and skill, and that is basically the definition of an info product, hence yielding your digital products. So the first component of MSP is marketing, and that is how your customers are initially exposed to the existence of your personal brand. We have short form content and we have long form content. And so I believe this is a little bit out of 1 second. Sorry guys, I had to make some adjustments of the specific file, but it has all been settled now. So when it comes to marketing, there are two specific types of approaches of how you can acquire traffic, and that is the long form content and short form content. Now long form content is how you guys probably see it right now on YouTube, is this specific video is reaching out to random specific goodness, it's supposed to be specific audience, guys, so forget the random. The point is that when you create a YouTube video or long form content effectively, you are reaching out to a specific audience type. It is harder to attract using long form content a wider audience. So when you start with long form content, you already have to specify the specific niche. Also, it is for beginners a waste of time and energy, because as you guys can see, it takes a lot of effort when it comes to long form content, when it comes to video production, editing, script, and whatever not. It requires higher production quality as well, because as you guys can see, a lot of these YouTube videos uses all the types of fancy animation and sound, but you can obviously create long form content with low production. However, it might not be successful as the other videos who have, you know, higher production quality. The reward, however, is more when it comes to long form content. With that being said, if you have, you know, a long form content that blows up, the reward is essentially higher, but it takes longer to see those results. When it comes to short form content, you are reaching out to a wider audience. Like for example, if you guys post on TikTok or Instagram Reels, it literally reaches out to anyone, and the algorithm for short form content will already, like, you know, narrow down eventually the specific niche, but it will, you know, first put your video within the broad audience, and eventually the algorithm will automatically narrow yourself down. For short form content, it's obviously easy to edit. You guys can use CapCut, but I've seen now that a lot of creators literally edit their videos on Instagram, which is also as simple, or on TikTok itself. It's also less time consuming, so it's faster for you to literally edit those videos. And you can also try and experiment in different niches, especially if you haven't solidified the type of identity for your personal brand yet. My personal tip, guys, and my recommendation for this one is, do not be so fixated on the type of video that you want to post. And I've seen Mr. Beast mention this on a podcast, is to literally, and shout out to Mr. Beast, is literally to just post content. Like even if you haven't specified your niche, or even if you're, you know, like contemplating on how to, you know, create the content or how to edit it, like literally start posting, guys. And eventually, like once you consistently post, then you can, you know, eventually create a pattern of how your future videos, you know, happen. And it works kind of like a cycle where you just post, receive the input data, reevaluate, and then reassess. So I'll explain that type of cycle within my free community, but for now I want you guys to understand why short form content is, I would personally say, more preferred. So short form content I would recommend as a beginner is finding your space, as I mentioned earlier. Hence you might shift to another space in the future. You can exit at any time. And also I would recommend you guys to offer your value for free, because product market fit is very, very important, and you don't know yet whether or not your product is good or not. So I would literally do product market testing by offering it for free. And if you guys realize, the traffic is very good for my product and people are, very interested in what I'm offering, then you can consider charged revenue channels. So there are two approaches when it comes to marketing, holistically speaking. And approach A is, if you guys are watching this video, if you are already an established content creator, which is 3 to 15K followers, and obviously more than that, or 3 to essentially 100K followers, your chronological order would be, you have to look at the traffic now, focus on the traffic sources. You have to have that creator and client avatar established already. You analyze your insights to the already existing social media data, and then you create a customer avatar. For approach B, if you are literally just starting off right now or creating a new account, the order would be that you create a new social media account, then you realize a content niche space, and that you guys can choose. I have literally provided a huge list of the type of niches you guys can look at, and that is all within the free community. And then you apply, once you have realized your content niche, you apply these social media tools to capture the traffic, as mentioned earlier, short form content or long form content, and then you redirect them to marketing redirect them to sales, which is eventually the landing pages or sales funnels. Now, when it comes to analyzing traffic, there is something. However, I want you guys to realize the prerequisite is to rebuild your Instagram. Not only Instagram, but your TikTok or Facebook. In fact, any social media channel you guys start on, and I recommend to start with one only, because it's very easy to manage one first. And the idea of singular mindset I've mentioned in my other video, and the importance of focusing your mind on one thing, but again, that's a little bit off topic. So the point is, rebuild your social media page and optimize it. And I have provided a specific link. So if you guys have probably seen, here's another one. I've provided a specific hyperlink which will explain each process specifically, but this hyperlink will explain how you can optimize your Instagram profile and your Instagram page. And so once you have done that, you create an audience analysis. So you literally start looking at the data that is already existing within the social media platform. Again, if you are a new account, there isn't much data, but you can already analyze some of the data that already exists. And so number 3, that means that the core business is actually entertaining the audience in the best way possible. And that is a subconscious thinking. I want you guys to always understand that at the end of the day, all the type of value that you're pushing and the content that you are creating, you are literally entertaining or essentially selling the audience in the best way possible. And I want you guys, and you should have that Mamba mindset, to be literally the best within the space. So this means that you deeply understand the audience, and like the audience of your creator, or essentially yourself. And so you deeply understand your audience by creating a customer avatar. And your customer avatar is basically the generic audience. So just imagine the generic Steve watching your video, and how will the generic Steve look like? How does he think? What are his possible reactions? Like, it has to be quite a predictable figure so that you can understand the pain points and eventually provide value to him. And so before you create that, and that is perhaps more of a philosophical take on all of this, is you need to drop your ego to realize that you are serving them. Even though, yes, it is about the values you push, yes, it is about you, but if you want to sell or provide value towards a mass audience, you have to drop your ego and understand what they want most of you, if that makes sense. So how do I create my customer avatar? I'm not going to go through everything specifically, but it is 3 fundamental, or 3 specific dimensions. It is the factual attributes, the psychographics, and the pain points. Please take a look at all these three dimensions, these three angles, and go through every single one specifically. And then yeah, I'm not going to go through with you guys in this video because you can basically do that by yourself. So once you have established that audience avatar, you literally start creating content, like literally as soon as possible, and the content should answer the pain points which is mentioned within the client avatars you guys can see in the bottom. So please go through it. And then so once you answer the pain points, they will eventually lead them to some type of action, also known as a trigger, and that trigger would put them into a funnel or sales, or in other words, a landing page. Again, I put at the bottom a further study which you guys can obviously look at. So how do users literally reach you? As I mentioned before, and this would already be transitioning from the type of content, the long form and short form content, into the user type of interaction. And so the users literally interact with your posts, with your feed posts, your stories and highlights, as well as your reels. So you literally have to, as cliche as it sounds, start posting, because if you don't post, no content is going out, and hence nobody will be able to reach you. And so once interacted, there are two macro ways that you can reply to them. You can either reply them yourself. You can literally reply them on DM yourself and, you know, react to them normally, and then, you know, kind of manually pitch to what you provide value for. Or you can have an automatic response with software like ManyChat or Respond.io and other types of AI stuff out there that I don't even know. Or you can even hire a sales rep, but I wouldn't really recommend this because in the beginning stages, we want to keep this quite clean and easy. My personal recommendation is, however, like software is ManyChat, and here are some of my recommendations. ManyChat, Respond.io, and Stammer.io. They're very simple and very straightforward to set up. Do look at the further study, the YouTube, if you guys are interested in doing that. But again, if you are completely new and you don't want to overcomplicate things, then literally just reply them yourself. So once marketing is optimized, you focus on sales. Sales for this purpose is literally funnels. Funnels is landing pages. And so your funnels, if you guys don't have one, I want you guys to literally build one right now. And so how do I choose the right funnel? Honestly, if you guys have used Linktree before and I've done it, it's literally lame for me. I don't want to be demonetized, so I won't say the S word here. But it didn't really have the features what, you know, other types of softwares have nowadays. And also I wouldn't put a website at all, because honestly guys, nobody looks at your website. And if you're selling a digital product or a physical product, in that sense, you know, creating a website takes very, very long, and you want to be quickly, and you want to set this personal brand out for yourself as literally as quickly and as fast as possible. So I wouldn't really do a website at first. You can literally do it later. No product links, and so this I will explain in a separate video, because product links is a little bit messy, and Instagram and some of the social media platforms, they have quite heavy restrictions when it comes to, you know, selling a physical product directly on the platform. So you still got to use some type of landing page, which I would recommend. Our Kartra, ClickFunnels, Stance, and Beacons.ai. My personal recommendation, guys, is literally Beacons.ai. It's very similar to Linktree, but it has like cool functions such as selling, collecting emails, and other types of features. So in this video, guys, I'm not gonna obviously teach you how to create a good funnel, like a good sales funnel. Again, I'll do a specific video on that because it's a lot of steps. But it depends on various factors, and it's too much to fit in within this doc. Well done, Julian. And so let's move to something more exciting, which is eventually the P of MSP, and that is your product. You guys have probably heard of Andrew Tate before, and this is basically how sales funnels look like, which is very, very interesting. This is basically just a screenshot of it, but within my free community, guys, I literally provide all the different types of funnels of all creators you guys can think of: Luke Belmar, Alex Hormozi, Edit Cumberbatch, Iman Ghazi, Andrew Tate, etc., etc. I provide all the funnels within my community, so you guys can literally analyze of how they do it, and essentially how they create their product funnels, and how eventually all of their traffic is redirected to their landing pages, and how they eventually sell the products. And I even show the specific calculations, which is obviously not done by myself, but another person. Shout out to Simon Liguyen. Do have to give him a little bit credit, but he shows the specific calculations of how much money they actually make. So do check out my community if you guys want to see that. And so when it comes to product, there are 4 factors that excel or essentially predict the success of your digital product. One is educational, like how educational it is. High ticket is basically the pricing point. The 7 desires, so how well you can trigger the pain points, look at the further studies, and how simple and convenient it is for the audience. The highest profit earning info products are one-to-one coaching, online webinars, online courses, paid communities, docs and templates, and PDF. Now these are from the educational dimension, I would say. But if you are an absolute beginner or just literally starting out your personal branding journey, I would look at selling physical products, but these physical products don't have to be your own product. It can be, perhaps somebody else, but you are just the brand ambassador for them. Affiliate links, which is very prominent on Shopee, Lazada, or Amazon. Product reviews, and that is basically, companies reaching out to you and asking them for you to review their product. Campaign collaborations, that can include events where you basically collaborate with the brand or company, and that is already high level stuff. And photo or video geek, which is also high level stuff, but that is basically, going to their place and doing some shooting. So from the micro perspective, or basically the specifics, these are personalized programs and one-to-one sessions, weekly calls on Zoom or Meets, recording these calls on TikTok Live, IG Live, and YouTube Live, learning platforms such as School, Kajabi, Teachable, and Udemy, Instagram subscriptions, School, TikTok series, and YouTube, Canva files, Word documents, Google Sheets, and other type of files, live videos, I think I mentioned that earlier, I think that overlapped, product reviews on feed or story, affiliate links, charging commission based on the product sold, actual photo or video shoots, as I mentioned earlier, and also product launch campaigns that would essentially identify itself as events. Now, my personal recommendation, as I mentioned earlier, is to offer free value first and then eventually upsell. There's a case study for that as well, so that you guys can believe that I'm not, literally talking shit. But yeah, so do take a look. Sorry, I was just looking if the recording is still happening. But do look at the hyperlinks so that you guys can re-reference or take reference of how it basically looks like. But my personal advice or tip is to do websites, video courses, ebooks, webinars, and one-to-one coaching, all that later. All of that is so time consuming and takes a lot of effort to set up, and I've seen creators that have spent hours and hours to create the website, to start video courses, to write their own ebook. And the reason I'm saying is that because I've been in that position before, and I've spent so many hours, but at the end of the day none of it sold, because I don't know, maybe it wasn't the right product, or the product market fit wasn't right, or perhaps my niche wasn't the right niche. So a lot of factors. My point is, do all of that heavy lifting later. Focus on what is literally the quickest and simplest to do, and something that you can start right away. So again, here, product market fit, and the idea is to serve a niche market, hence why testing the product fit is very, very important. And so at the end of the day, guys, and this is already towards the end of the video, thank God, it all boils down to these 3 subcomponents of the MSP framework. So it's literally the MSP framework. What's important is, I want you guys to understand that is literally the ingredients to success when it comes to personal branding. It's literally the foundation of starting a personal brand. And the time of your success literally boils down to how much skills you learn combining with the speed you can implement it. Again, this is a system, not a script, so don't think blindly like a robot when implementing this system, and just don't follow, just in general, don't follow things what people just tell you to do. Literally do your own little bit of thinking, because just like any system or any principle or any theory, it can always be seen or understood from a different perspective, and hence you can always refine, retune, and improve the belief systems that you have already constructed yourself right now. Last but not least, guys, never stop learning, as there are always new and different ways to go about this. This might not be your business system, however, or in the other side, this might be exactly the business that you want to start. But who knows? At the end of the day, like, never stop learning. It might not be the end point. It might be the beginning of something great. You never know. My point is to always be open and to never close the entire book just because one chapter didn't work. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.